Be able to see my screen at this point.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay. Mike, you able to see my screen?
Yeah, it looks good, Ray.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone. First of all, thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your day. Realize that we're all busy, have a lot of things to do, but what we hope to bring here is some new insight on capture technology, something that we're really excited about as an organization, not only to be able to offer it to our customers, but also it's something that we're using internally. So I think you'll see a lot of value in this type of technology and maybe open up some doors for your organization to understand how you can implement this technology and take advantage of it, whether it be as an on-premise solution or as a hosted solution. So I'm going to start out. I'm going to do a real quick PowerPoint here, only about 8 slides or so, and kind of lay the groundwork, and then we're going to get right into a demo. So here's today's agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about the challenges surrounding deploying capture solutions as they stand today. When you're using more traditional products like Kofax or Cygen or EMC, what are the challenges surrounding those types of implementations that you typically run into? We're going to show you, how to solve these challenges. We're also going to talk a little bit about bringing this technology to the small to mid-sized business, something that, for us is a key focus as an organization, to be able to take this technology and bring it down and make it cost-effective for our customers that are in that mid-range or that small business that just doesn't have the capital to invest thousands of dollars into a solution such as this. And then we're going to go into a product demonstration where Mike from Kodak is going to show us how Kodak Info Input works and show you some of the nice things that you can do with it and how to utilize it. And then we'll open it up for questions and answers, and hopefully you guys will have plenty of questions for us that we can help show you what you can do with it. So today when you deploy a capture solution, there's a lot of professional services or resources that are involved. And when you get into deploying this across multiple locations, that just compounds the problem. You're looking at coordinating IT staffs, coordinating delivery of hardware and installation of that hardware and the drivers, and then going out and installing the software as well. So, as a today, you're looking at a huge investment in that time and potentially in professional services that you're paying to a reseller like us to go out and deploy this type of a solution in a more traditional capture solution. When you're looking at this and you have multiple locations, changes in the workflow or changes in how you want to be able to scan become problematic. If you want to scan it, go from scanning at 200 DPI to 300 DPI, you have to go out and change those settings at each location and make sure that they're in sync with what the organization has set as their standard. You also have to make investment in hardware and software licenses for those locations. As an example, Kofax Capture Network Server, you have to have a PC or a server that acts as the local server at that remote location, which then syncs with the main server back in your headquarters. You have to have software licenses to be able to run on those workstations. All that needs to be deployed and managed at each remote location, making it costly and complicated. Some solutions, you'll work over a WAN. What we see in those types of scenarios is that the bandwidth becomes an issue, not only from a standpoint of transferring the images, but also when you're constantly pinging a database, whether it be a license server or a image database to write a record into that system. Okay. You also can tend to run into volume license limitations. A lot of products out there licensed by the month or by the year annually, and they're based on page count. Okay? So you'll run into that at various locations and trying to understand, okay, at this location, how many pages do I need on a monthly or yearly basis to be able to support the needs of the business? And then for those who may be doing this as a service, how do you go and scan at a remote location, whether it's a customer or within the business itself, it presents a lot of challenges that you have to overcome. You have security issues, logins. If you're scanning locally and you need to transport those images back to your main location or processing center, you risk damaging that computer or that hard drive that the images are on. If that happens, that creates a whole nother set of issues of having to go back and scan and capture that information again. So Kodak Info Input helps us solve these problems. Okay? What Kodak Info Input is a web-based solution where you can deploy your capture solution across your enterprise by using a web page. It's as simple as that. Cuts down the amount of resources you need to roll it out. Imagine rolling out capture to 1,000 different users within a couple of days. No need to go on site and install software on every workstation. You deploy a web page, and that's it. It's now available and accessible to those users, while all they have to do is hook up the scanner and install the drivers on the desktop. Since admins control the batch and scanner settings, once they update on the server, it becomes permeated through the system and implemented for all users. So no need to go to each workstation and say, all right, I want to go from 200 to 300 DPI on this application. You just deploy it once, and now it's available to all the users based on their security permissions and login and which batch classes they're working with. You don't need to invest in additional hardware. You don't need a support server to be able to support that location. You can just use your local PC and attach that scanner directly up to that local PC. So you're going to lessen the infrastructure that you need to be able to support your scanning operation. The most common question I get when I talk about this type of technology from people is that, can I drive the scanner at rated speed? Surprisingly, absolutely you can. I was amazed the first time I started. I was skeptical, but what it does is it actually scans the documents down to a local cache file, which is encrypted and then transmitted up to the server, enabling the application to run at full rated speeds, whether you're on a 40 page per minute scanner or a 200 plus page per minute scanner. You eliminate the volume licenses at each of the remote locations. They can scan without those limitations, and they transmit those images up. It's a concurrent model. There's 2 sets of licenses that you can have. One is basically up to 120 pages per minute, and then you have something for any scanners over 120 pages per minute. No page limitations at any of the workstations or remote locations. As I mentioned before, off-site scanning requires a PC, scanner, and internet connection. That's it. We right now, as we speak, are off-site doing a job for a customer who needed to keep their documents on site. We sent a team out there with a couple of scanners, laptops. We got an internet connection, and they're now scanning and processing those documents right there on site. When they close the batch, those images get transferred up to our server here in Manchester, New Hampshire, even though they're in New York, and our workflow kicks off and begins processing those images. So it really cuts down the amount of time for processing when you're dealing with remote locations that maybe have otherwise sent documents via courier or mail service. So a lot of times when I'm talking to people, they already have a solution in place. And what I tell them when it comes to capture is that really what we're doing is we're extending your capture solution. You can remotely deploy this to your workstations and feed your back-end processing system. So if you've already invested in something like Kofax Capture, SciGen, Capture Pro, EMC Captiva, or any other capture solutions, this system can basically extend those installations, again, across your organization and be able to feed that into your more traditional workflow. Within Kofax Capture, when you scan using this product, it basically is going to eliminate those KCNS licenses and directly export the batches from within Kodak Info Input into Batch Manager within Kofax Capture. So batches will automatically begin to appear inside of your Kofax Batch Manager. Within SciGen, capture software can automatically import and begin processing those documents as those images, along with the metadata, can get dumped into your network drive, and SciGen can pick those up and begin processing them. There are ways to automate and extend that using some of the tools within SciGen and within Info Input to really make that a smooth transition. Because this is a Java-based application, you have the ability to integrate with most capture applications. But one of the other key features about this is that you can capture enable a line of business application. For example, Salesforce, or maybe you have a insurance application where you want to scan and attach documents to your record within your database. Using JavaScripting, you can enable that application to scan and attach that record directly within that application. So it really has a lot of flexibility, a lot of power built into the solution. So Inception is now rolling out what we call managed scanning services. Okay, what is it? It's basically hosted scanning service provided by Inception to help bring enterprise capture, again, to that small to mid-sized business. By offering this service, we're going to include hardware, software, and support for a monthly fee, starting at around $199 a month. Who's it right for? Again, small to mid-sized businesses who may be looking at scanning or may already be scanning, but they need more they require more advanced functionality, or they lack the expertise to be able to really take advantage of capture and get the productivity and efficiency that they're looking for out of a capture solution. So what do you get with the managed scanning services? You get a lower mid-volume desktop scanner. Okay. You get a scan and an index license, and you can have as many of those licenses as you wish based on your fee. You get application setup. So we handle setting it up, controlling all of the settings, making sure that your index fields are correct, your scanner settings are correct, and that you're ready to go the minute that that application or that scanner arrives and that application is deployed. You'll get our support services via telephone and remote desktop, and it's an affordable monthly fee, eliminating a large investment from the capital side and become more of an operating cost. Using one of Kodak's diagrams here, I think it's a great one that shows, quite frankly, how the system works. So you have remote locations that are out there scanning, capturing documents from various different methods, whether it be, from a scanner or a file that's, out on the network. You can capture, bring those into Info Input. Those images get transmitted up into your image server and then released to the various location that you're looking for. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand the presentation over to Mike, who's going to demonstrate the technology and show you how Kodak Info Input can help. All right. Okay, Mike, you should be good to go.
Yeah, I just hit share my screen, so did that pop up?
I can see it.
All right, good. So like you can see, I'm using Internet Chrome browser, and this is my URL for my server. This could be a local host, like it shows here, or this could be a server, up in our Rochester headquarters, New York, and you just browse to this URL, and you log in with either your Active Directory users or users that you create here in Info Input, and it simply comes up in your browser, and this is the window that you'll see. So there's 5 icons over here. It's designed purposely to be a clean-looking, simple GUI. You can simply exit out of here. You can index through here. You can scan through this icon. You can also scan and import through here, and you can do the same thing through here, but this file folder icon allows you to go right into an indexing queue. So if we had some operators earlier in the previous shift or the previous day scan in to an index queue, I can come in as an index user and just start indexing. We can connect a scanner to this, like Ray was speaking about a little while ago, where you can do batch scanning to this, or you can also import documents. Today we're just going to import. It's exactly the same as scanning in, minus the scanner. So I'm going to come up here to this plus icon, and I get a create new batch window. I have a default scan profile over here, which is set to import instead of looking for a scanner right now. I'm going to scan in a series of housing applications, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. I have the name pre-programmed in this setup to come up with the job name. You can see I have today's date and time set. And then this number over here is my employee user ID. So I have that set over here. So if someone else walks up right now, and if Ray comes in and creates a batch, the name of this batch is going to have his ID to it. So obviously you can go into the batch dialog and see who's doing what. So I'm going to click create and scan. I'm going to grab about a dozen or so of these housing application pages, and this is what the scan window looks like. You can see it says scanning in progress. This is our preview. These housing applications, there's 11 pages over here split up into 4 documents, and you can see when I scroll over each document, I get a little magnifier in the right-hand corner, the lower right-hand corner. And if I just hover over that for a minute or so, or a second or so, you'll see a quick preview of what that page looks like. Now, I know that this housing job setup has a barcode on it, and we're doing 2 things with that barcode. We're telling the software that when it sees a barcode, I want to separate into a new document. And I also want you to pull the case number out of that barcode, do a database lookup, and come up with the person's name and social security number and date of birth. You can see the date of birth isn't on this application, this sample right here, but that's incorporated in the database lookup. So we're going to see today how we can do a database lookup and for indexing and do a manual index as well. Now I can see here clearly that there's a barcode up here and the barcode here, but there's no separate document over here. I know this page should, or this document shouldn't be 5 pages, and if I just preview this real quick, you can see how that's all X'd out, and that's obviously just to represent a damaged barcode. Maybe there was some tape pulled off of it, a staple through it or something, but if that was damaged, I can simply just click in the middle over here, and boom, I can separate this. Now I have my 5 documents. I can drag pages back and forth to documents. I can come in here and merge this with the previous, so on and so forth, and delete it if I wish, and I can drag pages back. I can also drop email attachments from Outlook into here. I can drop in videos, Microsoft Word documents, anything like that, and it's set, this particular job setup is set to honor the formats of those files that are being dropped in there. So at this point, I have a little batch explorer window over here on the left side, and you can see that this is my batch, and I'm just going to close these just to kind of show you what this looks like. Here's my batch with the name that we identified, and I have 5 documents in there and the pages and all that, and you can either expand the tree or close it. If you want to add more documents to it, I can scan again, but at this point I'm simply going to hit index, and I'm going to go to my indexing field over here. Now I was highlighted on this page, so it comes up to that page, but if I go to my first document, let me just go back to here. You can see when I click index, it shows us another preview of that page, and you can see that the barcode is highlighted, and it has a 9-digit number on there, which is a case name or case number, and that case number is associated in a database table with the person's name, social security number, and the date of birth. So if I click on Karen's name over here, I see a little zone or zoom zone over here that highlights around the case name. And if I click on the Social Security number, it brings me to the Social Security number. And that comes in handy because if you see up here, we have a couple standard tools that we can use. We can do a rotate 90 degrees, 180, and you can enlarge the image, and then you can pan around. And the higher you go up, you have a little zoom preview over here, and I can just scroll around this window. You can see I don't have the Social Security numbers over there, but if I'm over here looking at Karen's name, and then I click on this box over here, you can see it'll scroll to that area of the preview. So I don't have to come over here and really mine this thing. And if I'm looking for index data, in this example, it's all on the top of the page, but because I'm zoomed up over here, I can easily, when I click on the box over here, it'll bring me over there so I can just take a quick QC of it. I have a little icon over here with an arrow that directs me to the next page. I can also click on this over here, preview, just to bring me back to a full page, or one-to-one, so I can really check the quality of it if I wish. And I can see, again, I can QC this real quick, go through here, and you can see the little zone zoom down here as well enlarges that area. So this is my Social Security number, so instead of having to zoom up on the preview over here, I can see it down here as well. Same with the case name and the case number. Again, the date of birth isn't on here, so you're not going to see that on the document. And I can scroll through this, and I know eventually I'm going to get to the page that has a bad barcode in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger. There's a icon I'm looking for right here. This is our drag and drop OCR icon. So it's rubber band OCR icon. So if I click on that and I just rubber band an area around this case number, it populates that field. I can also type anything I want in there. I can type my name in there for the case number, put in race, Social Security number if I wish, but just by putting in this case number on the one that has the bad barcode, if I select my tab key, it populates the name again, which is Martin Janeway, and the Social Security number. So right there, it's doing a database lookup, and that database could be a Microsoft Access table, could be an Oracle database, SQL, could be anything that we can configure it to. And then when I hit next, because this is the last documents, oh, one other thing, I'm just going to cancel that out. We can add annotations to this as well. So we have some standard stamps over here. For an example, if I click on the approved, I can come over here and I can embed these annotations on the document, or I can output them separately when I export this as well. So that's another feature that we have. So if I go back, whoops, I double clicked on that. So when I go back to indexing, because this is the last document, when I hit next, there's no more, it gives me two options. I can close the batch over here, or I can close and get the next waiting batch. So if there's something in the index queue that's waiting to go, I can automatically proceed to that. In this case, I'm just going to hit close the batch. It asks me if I'm sure. I'm going to hit yes. Down here on the bottom, it goes, you can see a little upload progress bar. I double clicked on that real quick, and it comes up with the batch name, the job, the time it was submitted, and various other information. This job setup is set to export just to a file folder. So I'm outputting PDFs with the index information in the XML file format, and the annotations are being output separately as well. So this batch upload status box is how you can monitor which batches are uploaded, which ones are waiting in the index queue, and things like that. And you can also print this out as well. And that's how easy it is to import a batch, scan a batch, and do some indexing. I'm logged in right now as the administrator, and the administrator gets this little icon up here in the right-hand corner, and this is where you can set the job setup. If I click on that, it'll load the setup data. I have 4 jobs in here. This is the housing information that we just used. I can right-click on there, and I'm not going to go into too much detail with this here, but just to give you an idea, if I go into define my document classes and my index fields, these are those index fields that we saw. And basically for the case number, I have the barcode identified there. And for the name, social security number, and date of birth, I just have that blank because I'm filling that in either manually or through the barcode. Well, you can see it's pretty extensive in here with the tools that we have to set up our jobs. We can also edit the scripts for these job setups too. So for anybody that's Java savvy, you can go in here and pretty much have a field day editing the script for this job. We also have a global script editor where you can go in and edit the Java code globally for the application so that when you launch it, you can see certain things and you can block certain things out. And then a few other things in the administrator window over here is announcement administration. You know, we've all seen this before. When you log on, I have an IT weekly update. It's going to take place between June 8th and June 24th, so that's kind of a cool thing. You can administer. I have a couple groups right now for administrators and scanner operators, but you can make as many groups as you want, split your licenses up however you wish. And then you have your users, active users, and I can go in and I can edit my user and groups as well. And here's the global script for the software as well. And like Ray said, this is one way to use Info Input. The other way is our transactional piece where we can embed this in your software so that you don't necessarily see everything you see here and you don't need a browser to go to it. So if you're using Salesforce or anything else, you can have this Info Input software, be an icon in your Salesforce application or whatever application you're using, and you can simply click on it and you can come up and create a new batch as well. So that's something that we can custom configure for folks.
Right.
Ray, is there anything else we want to dig into here on that admin window, or do we want to open it up for questions? Or
Yeah, I'm going to open up and I'll unmute the lines if I can do it. Otherwise, people can submit their questions. So I've opened up the lines. If people have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. Anybody have any questions out there? I think people are shy.
Yeah, that's okay.
You can submit your questions. Oh, I think we just got one. At least I thought I did. Melissa, you have your hand raised. Is there a question that I can answer for you? Can't hear you. You're right. Do you want to type your question in here and I'll answer it that way? Go ahead. Okay. Can you do full text OCR on any documents that is not part of the indexes? Yes and no. There is an additional module that you can use, purchase to get full text OCR and create searchable PDFs. However, if you already have a capture application, for example, we did not purchase that OCR module because we have a capture application that we feed with Info Input. So, as I mentioned, I have a group scanning out on the in New York at the moment. They're transmitting TIFF images, and we're then just running it through our standard image workflow, which then does full text OCR. So you can purchase it, but again, if you already have something, you may argue that you don't really need to buy it. Any other questions out there? You're welcome, Melissa. Let's see. Okay, well, if there aren't any other questions, I guess we'll let people go. I do want to say thank you to everybody for taking their time. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to answer any of those questions for you. If you'd like to see something beyond this that we did not cover, or have a little bit more in-depth, demonstration or conversation, again, please just let us know. We'll be happy to arrange that. Otherwise, thank you for your time, and look forward to talking to you. Mike, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Okay, Ray. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
All right, bye.